Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del challenges the status quo, questions everything, and empowers you to return to your core beliefs to make your life better. If you're ready to hear the truth and get your roadmap to the lifestyle you really want, the next hour will change your life. And now, your host, self-made millionaire, national award-winning investor of the year, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley.
Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. Today, my friends, I brought in a couple guests to help you on the finance side of investing in single-family housing and maybe even other types of investing. And I brought them in because I've been getting a lot of questions lately about financing, and especially since, we've got all the Trump laws changing things, and then we've got interest rates changing, the Fed changing things. And, of course, I know for a fact that every month I have to get a report from Toby as to what has changed in the financing world, because things change all the time. So I wanted to bring these people in for you, both Toby Labeouf from AMP Lending. Later on, I'm going to have Mike Doyle from White & Jacobs Associates, which is a credit restoration company. So Toby's a lending company. I want to get them both on today. I want to see if we can get you guys to ask the questions that you ask me when I'm in a position to not be able to answer them. So we get some questions on here. Now I'm going to open up the phone lines right away because of that. Our number here is 877-711-5211. Now again, that's 877-711-5211. And I'm going to start the show off with Toby. Toby, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dale. Thanks for having me.
So let's give them right away a place to get in touch with you if they want to get do some business with you. Let's give them something they can contact here. Toby Labeouf, AMP Lending, where do they contact you?
We are a little bit regionalized. I'm actually out of the Houston surrounding location, and our number here is 281-391-5363. Out of the Austin location, I'm a business partner. Rich Nunez runs that show over there, and their number is 512-527-6210. And if they're in the DFW area, they can call either one of us. We just did get licensed in a few new states here. So we are going and growing with Lifestyles Unlimited. We just got licensed in California, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Florida, and Illinois.
So to make it easier on everybody, can we just go to your website? Will there be ways to find all these different locations?
Absolutely. It's www.askmortgagepros.com. All
right. I think that's probably going to be the easiest way, because obviously right now we're on a radio show in 106 different cities, so not all of them are Texas. Very few of them, in fact, are Texas. Most of it's all over the country, so appreciate the intro there. Toby, let's talk about this right now. I'm trying to think how I wanted to break this up, and the challenge is that I really wanted to get you on to give us the new stuff. I mean, pretty much most people know how to qualify for a loan, but on the second thought, I go, maybe they don't. So let's go ahead and let's risk going over everybody's head by talking about what's new and what has changed in the last 6 months to 1 year that people need to be aware of now that, of course, Trump's been in there now for a while. The Fed's been doing some funky stuff. Tell us what we need to look out for, both good and bad. Is there some exciting stuff for us? Is there some challenges we need to watch out for?
Well, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are on the conventional side, have been loosening up quite a bit. So that's definitely a good piece to the equation as far as being able to get investors qualified that couldn't necessarily get qualified before. Some of the things that they've loosened up is being able to use future rents on properties in order to qualify as far as the debt-to-income ratio is concerned. And these are on properties that aren't necessarily leased out yet. That's one of the most exciting pieces of that, is they don't even necessarily have to be leased out in order to use those future rents to offset the monthly expenses from a DTI, debt-to-income ratio standpoint of view. So that's pretty exciting.
That is, and I want to stop you right there because having done this for 30 years, Toby, what I realize is that most of the stuff that we speak about as if it's commonplace, that the average person has no idea what we're talking about. So let me go back and clean that one up a little bit for us, and that is most people, Toby, don't understand qualifying for rental houses as far as the debt-to-income ratio, because they've gone out and tried to qualify for their own personal home. So when you go to see a mortgage guy for your own personal home, they say, okay, you're qualified for $150,000 or $200,000, and they go buy a home as large as they can, close to that number, thinking, okay, now I've used up 100 to 150 of that pre-qualification. There's nothing left. Not understanding that when you buy a new rental home, you get to bring that income from the rental home in to help qualify. It gives you a new debt-to-income ratio. So most people believe after they buy one or two houses, they're done. They'll never be able to buy another house again, whereas I had over 100 houses in my name at one time. So pick that up and explain to them, if you can, in a more understandable version than I just put out there, why people can continue to buy homes even after they've only been qualified for 100,000 or whatever number they've been given.
Sure. So what we do on a lending standpoint of view is there are these guidelines like we discussed as far as debt-to-income ratio is concerned. But we have the ability to use these rents to offset that. So let me kind of give you an example here. So say you've got a house in which the monthly debts on it, that's your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and homeowner association, is $750. What we can do on our side is we can actually use those future rents. So say that house, the future rent on it is $1,000. We can use 75% of that $1,000 to offset your $750 monthly payment every single month. So literally from a debt-to-income ratio standpoint of view, it just washes out every single month. So it's like you don't even necessarily have any other debts on that particular property. And that's with every single-family residence that you own, is we have that ability to use those future rents to offset your debts. So if you qualify for the first, you're going to qualify for the 10th, 20th, 30th, however many you choose to buy.
One little twist on that, Toby. Let's say I'm going to buy two houses at the same time, or three. If I do, somebody sells me two or three houses, they have in a little package. How does that work?
Sure. Depends on how you buy them. Most of the time when I see something like that, it's going to be like a hard money conversion. And that's something that you really need to, when you're going out there and you're looking at these package deals where it's a 2, 3, sometimes even 4 package deals, to make sure that we're not going to run into any problems, because we do have the ability to use a house that's not leased out yet, but it has to be the house that we're purchasing at that time. Not to get too complicated here, but if you have it in which it's multiple hard money conversions, you really need to talk to your loan officer and make sure that you're not going to run into any issues. If it's something in which they are complete properties and it's just a straight 15, 20% down purchase, then you're golden on all 4 or 5, whatever, however many properties that you're buying at the same time. The only time you have an issue possibly is on that hard money conversion scenario.
Gotcha. Timing issue. So you get with you and you help us figure it out, walk us through it. What else is new and interesting that we should know about?
Well, as everybody's probably heard, the Fed has been a bit volatile lately. So here's the downside. It has certainly been volatile. With the election coming, I think, and the Federal Reserve, as far as them raising interest rates, really spooked the market. And on the interest rate side, it doesn't even necessarily have to be an actual interest rate hike for interest rates to go up. Luckily for right now, I would say probably the last 3 weeks have been pretty steady. The biggest thing for us and for a lot of our investors is, hey, we understand when interest rates go up and things of that nature, but we don't want them to jump too high. because it takes a little bit of an adjustment level. If you're going to increase interest rates, hey, do it nice and slow, nice and gradual, so everybody.
All right. Well, we got to take a break, nice and fast. So we'll be right back with Toby Labeouf and AMP Lending and the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
You're listening to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del will be right back with more life-changing principles in just a few minutes.
Lifestyles Unlimited is the real estate investor education and mentoring group that has been taking people by the hand and teaching them how to invest in real estate for over 25 years. Our students have been so successful at creating wealth and passive income that they've won local, state, and national Investor of the Year awards 10 of the last 10 years. It's easy to see why Think Realty magazine named us the best in the U.S. If you're ready to add real estate to your portfolio, go to lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com to access our free live training event schedule.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. With me here today is Toby Labeouf from AMP Lending. And Toby, as we went to break, you got cut off. You were discussing interest rates. Let's pick that up briefly and move on then from there.
Sure. What I was saying before is that the market has, over the last couple of weeks, calmed down a little bit. The Fed decided not to increase rates, so we're looking pretty good right now. We'll see what happens in the first quarter of 2019, but at least it looks like it's calmed down a little bit, and hopefully we don't see any big jumps anymore.
All right, great. Our number here is 877-711-5211. You guys always call me with these hard questions when I don't have Toby here, so call in now and ask Toby. I'm going to give you one, Toby, that they asked me the other day, and I'll give you a short story and then the question. In my seminar, I talk about the fact when I first started 30 years ago buying single-family houses, you could take your credit card, go down to the bank on the way over to the title company, pull out the cash for the down payment, and plop it down and close the deal. I assume that's not possible anymore, or am I wrong? Is that still something people do?
Well, I mean, as far as technically speaking, unsecured debt, you're not supposed to necessarily use that for purchasing properties and things of that nature. But once again, we only go back 60 days, so we don't know what you did 61 days ago. As far as your assets are concerned. But it's something that certainly, we take those debts into consideration. So if it's something in which you're wanting to utilize those assets, just talk to your loan officer, and we'll be able to certainly figure a way out to be able to use those assets to invest and see a return on those funds.
Okay, great. My assumption was that it's similar, but not the same thing. In other words, rules, they always slice and dice rules with Fannie Mae. But sure. It's similar to pulling money out of your house on a, what do you call it, not a refinance, but a line of credit type of deal.
HELOC.
Yeah, HELOC. Is it?
Yeah, well, and here's the biggest thing is they differentiate between whether it's secured or not secured. So credit card debt is not secured, but a HELOC or cash out on your primary residence, or even a debt against an asset like a loan against your 401k or whatever else, that's technically a secured debt. So those funds are absolutely available, according to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Excellent news. Excellent things to know. So in your little trove of things that change all the time, you're always updating me. What else do we need to know that's different this year than last year or even 6 months ago?
Well, like I said before, as far as the ability to utilize loan to values have actually gone up a little bit, especially on the Freddie Mac side. And that's even on the hard money conversions. You have the ability to go up to 80% loan to value on the Freddie Mac side versus 75% loan to value on the Fannie Mae side on hard money conversions, which really helps out with the whole lifestyles philosophy is minimizing that out of pocket to be able to finance some of those closing costs into the loan. That way you can make sure that your cash on cash return number is nice and flush. So that's certainly one of the things that has loosened up on the Freddie Mac side, especially on the hard money conversions, which we're seeing a lot of those these days.
Let's talk about people that pay cash for their property right out of the blocks and then come back and try to refinance it, both in terms of delayed financing and in terms of cash out refinances down the line. I'm assuming that's 6 months afterwards or whatever. Go ahead and cover those two and how they're different. Most people don't understand those two, put it that way.
That's actually the delayed financing piece is the one piece where you can actually use unsecured debts to be able to use as far as cash and buying house cash. So delayed financing and cash outs are very, very similar products, except for cash outs, you actually have to wait 6 months in order to do a traditional cash out. With a cash out or delayed financing, you can go up to 75% of the after repair value of that particular property. But with delayed financing, you don't have to wait 6 months. You can actually do it immediately. But there is a caveat. Caveat to that is it's either 75% of the after repair value or acquisition cost, whichever is less. So my general rule of thumb is if you've got a house in which it's got $10,000 or more in repair cost, delayed financing is probably not going to be a good deal for you just because you're going to leave that equity in the property because you're not going to be able to finance any of those repairs. So delayed financing is a great product. It's a great product as long as you're getting, a discount for buying the house cash. Cash is king, of course. And the repair costs are, I would say, good rule of thumb, about $10,000 or less.
Now, that's a good segue into the next question I had for you. Those that you're defining, the ones where you have to put a lot into rehab and you can't recapture it, you leave all that in the house when you do a delayed financing, are really better deals, are more aligned with doing hard money lending and then converting them over. Do you do those types of loans? I know you're a conventional lender. Do you also do the hard money, or do you align yourself with somebody? How's that work with you?
Yeah, we align ourselves with multiple hard money lenders out there that we use on a daily basis. So for us and most hard money lenders out there, you really want to start with your conventional lender side first, because that's really what hard money lenders are looking for, is that exit strategy. So when you go through us, you're automatically pre-approved with multiple hard money lenders out there. So it's a one-stop shop. You're not having to send your stuff to all in multiple different places. Gotcha.
We just got about a minute left is all we have left. Anything else you want to bring up that you brought in here today you thought would be interesting for people?
Well, for me, I think, making sure that you're attuned to the market, especially on hard money conversions. Whenever the rates and we have that type of volatility, you really need to talk to your loan officer and make sure that you're attuned with the market, because rates and fees go directly into your cash-on-cash return calculation. So you want to make sure that you're up to date with what's going on in the marketplace, so you can make sure that your numbers are as accurate as possible.
All right. Well, I appreciate everything you do for our members, help them through these situations, understand them, and then finance them. Appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge with us today on the radio. One more time, we've only got 10 seconds left. Your website.
www.askmortgagepros.com.
Thank you, Toby. Appreciate it. For the rest of you, we'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
You're listening to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del will be right back with more life-changing principles in just a few minutes.
Get total freedom in your life, safely and quickly. Build wealth and passive income so you never worry about working until you drop, losing your job, or retiring in poverty. Over 25 years ago, Del Walmsley founded Lifestyles Unlimited. Del has taught over 100,000 people just like me and you the principles of financial freedom through his national radio shows and personal one-on-one mentoring at Lifestyles Unlimited. I'm excited to tell you about the real estate workshop that has changed so many lives. This workshop takes you inside what we do and what we believe. We'll share with you the 5 ways we make money in real estate and much more. Just like your personal trainer, the Lifestyles Unlimited team will motivate, encourage, and teach you so you can get in the best financial shape of your life. Call 866-971-8970 or go to lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com. That's lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com to register for the workshop that will change your life. That's lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today I told you I'm bringing in some credit experts and some mortgage experts to see if we can answer some of your questions. Here's your opportunity to ask those questions. So if you want to call in, our number is 877-711-5211. That's 877-711-5211. Don't be shy. With me now is Mike Doyle of White Jacobson Associates. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I hesitate to say what your company does because I've been shot down before. It's just credit restoration has changed names so many times because some of them seem to pick up a negative connotation. And so tell us, what does White Jacobs Associates do, and how do we benefit using your service?
First of all, I've been doing this for 10 years. How we differ is that we make the companies validate the debt. Anyone can do disputes online, which used to work. It does not work anymore. It's the company's obligation to make sure that is correct data on your credit file, and that's what we make them do. And if not, we actually have an attorney in-house. The third letter from the attorney's office, they respond back to the attorney, and he's won 27 lawsuits against collectors because they don't do what they're supposed to do according to government regulations.
How's that not? How am I not surprised by that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so they just don't abide by the laws, and that's what they're supposed to do. So that's what we do. There's several laws that guide them. You got the HIPAA Act, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. You got the several acts that are rules and regulations, and we make them abide by those. And that's all we're doing. If it's my debt, let's negotiate a settlement. But let's make it fair and let's make it accurate.
That's interesting. So I was going to say, it's interesting. So if you find out that it is real debt, then your next step is to negotiate? Is that what you're saying?
You negotiate, but you do not pay it without negotiating and getting a letter in advance. There's a misconception about, they'll tell you, if you say, you have an example. I had a guy client in Arizona. He paid a $70 medical collection. He was already qualified to buy his $500,000 home loan. It reported to 2 bureaus as a paid collection. They updated it. They paid. And it's zero balance, new date. His score dropped 116 points and 123 points. His loan rate went up a half a point on a $500,000 home by paying a $70 medical collection and not getting a letter in advance to delete it. So we hired the guy it all. His score went back up to a 795 mid score. It was a 677 after he paid the collection. So that's why I caution about people. Go ahead.
The information that you're providing us right now is that, hey, even if you pay these things off, that's not going to take it off your credit report, and that's still going to ding your credit score. It's what you're saying. You've got to get that thing off of there, and you're saying what you do is you make them give you a letter of intent to do so before you even pay them the money. Got it. What else do you guys do? I saw it on your website. I was looking through it. It said here, mortgage approval support, debt settlement, dispute code removal. You guys got all kinds of things on there. Is that all part of one package, or is each thing a separate thing, or how does that work?
All one package. Our goal is to get the person qualified to get their home loan. And as you know, every 20 points saves them money. So that's why we caution. We give the lectures about credit, about, as you know, if you're qualified to buy a home loan or make a large purchase, you don't do anything with your credit until you get that loan closed. And that's what I was a banker for 28 years. I've been doing this 10 years. I love doing this because people do not understand credit and how it impacts their life. Like a collection, like this guy that paid the collection, it was 3.5 years old. So it would have been gone in 3.5 years. When he paid it, the clock restarted to 7 years. That's why his score dropped.
Wow.
And on a collection, the zero balance, or if it's a zero balance or a $10,000 balance, it affects you the same. It's just the activity date that impacts your credit score.
Well, let's
and a lot of lifestyle members, we have they're Dave Ramsey clients. They have no credit score, and there's ways we can get you. Just call us. We'll help them get a credit score within 4 to 6 months. But you got to do it correctly. You can't just go out there and open a card and that's all you need to do. That's not the way you do it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's another whole aspect I hadn't even thought about. People that have no credit at all. Let's talk about the gotchas that people need to think about that you run up against where that messes up their credit. Because the real gotchas that get me are the stuff that you went into the mortgage guy and he said you qualify, and then a week before you close, it changes. Something messes you up. What kind of gotchas have you seen that you've had to work through? A person qualified by their home loan, they're all excited. They go to a company and get a line of credit, revolving line of credit. They max it out, buying all their furniture to be delivered in 2 weeks. The company pulls a report the day before they close the loan. It hits the report. Their score drops below the qualification level. They cannot qualify for that home loan because they have a line of credit that's maxed out. It dropped their score. It took them 6 months to get requalified again. They lost that home. That's why it's very important. Once you're qualified for a home loan, don't do anything. I had a member in California. We got his credit ready to go. He said, I'm going to buy my wife a car. I said, I thought you were going to buy a house. He said, I am going to do that too. I said, you're not buying the car until you close the house loan. He said, I can do what I want to do. I said, yes, you can. But you're going to drop your score about 90 points if you buy that car, or 60 points. And so he listened to me. He closed the home loan. The next day after he closed, he went and bought his wife a car. Everybody's happy. And he got the loan for the car at a zero rate because his score hadn't dropped because the loan had not hit yet on the mortgage loan. Because anytime you have a new installment on a mortgage loan, your score will drop the next month. As I listen to that, Mike, I'm thinking to myself, I'm sorry, I'm in another world right now. I'm thinking, boy, that's an expensive wife. You got to buy her a house and a car at the same time. See how left field my brain was on that one. I'm thinking I'd trade the wife in to keep the credit score good, right? So, oh boy.
That's right.
Let's go on. Let's talk about how people should win and how they know it's time for them to get in touch with you. And you've got about 3 minutes on that question. Walk us through who should be contacting you, and by the way, how do they contact you?
They contact me on my cell number. I'll answer my cell 6 days a week, 214-240-4538. What we do, Dale, we give them, what I want to do is let's look at their credit report before they go and make an application. So what we'll do is we'll tell them to 2 different websites that before they can get a FICO score. They're going to do it themselves for $1. They have a free trial for 14 days. And it's very close to a mortgage loan, but it's not a hit against their score. That's the important thing. Every time you go and apply for a mortgage loan, it's going to drop your score 2 to 3 points. When you do it yourself, it does not impact your score one bit. So that's why we're taking this website. We'll give them a free evaluation, search some things up, or just tell them what to do, maybe pay some credit cards down, because you pay a credit card down, as soon as it reports, your score will go up if it's above 30%. And we just kind of educate people about credit because it doesn't matter. I've got a speech. Credit sense is not common sense. You do the right thing, it's the wrong thing to do. But I love having lifestyle members. A lot of them we just give advice to, which is great. I love doing this. I actually love helping people.
But you can help people all over the country, right?
Yes, sir. And We do have more. There's about 6 states we do not work in, but they're very smaller states, and the laws are just crazy, so we don't work in those states. But most states we can work in.
I know how you feel. There's a few states I don't work in either. Oh, my gosh. They might even be the same state, so we won't cover that in case somebody's listening from that state. It irritates them. So
that's right.
We're going to come back from break here. Go ahead.
Well, what I like about what we do, we just tell them like it is. We're very upfront, very honest with them. A lot of lifestyle members, we lecture their daughters or their sons that have some great issues. We can tell their children what they can't tell them, or they won't listen to them. They'll listen to us.
Yeah, that's important.
We're on your side.
I think that's true about a lot of things, but credit is probably a really, really important one. I know money is, and financing and investing is something the kids and parents don't get along talking about very well generally. So we're going to take a short break here, and we'll be right back with Mike and White Jacobs Associates. Our number here, if you want to call and ask those questions, guys, now's that free chance, 877-711-5211. Get your calls in. Got one more segment of the show. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del will be right back with more life-changing principles in just a few minutes.
What would happen if you didn't show up for work tomorrow? For the next couple of days? For a week? A couple of months? A year? How long until you lose everything you've worked for in a fraction of the time it took to earn it? If this fear keeps you up at night, it's time to learn the strategies we teach at Lifestyles Unlimited. Start with the free workshop. Go to lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com and find your true financial peace, like so many of our members already have. That's lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. With me here today is Mike Doyle from White Jacobs Associates, which is a credit restoration company, helps people get their credit in line. And we're going to get back to him in a second. First, we have someone holding here to ask a question. By the way, if you want to call in, our number is 877-711-5211. Holding from Texas is Reggie. Reggie, how can we help you today?
Del, good morning. How are you doing?
Very good, sir.
I have a question. I'd spoken to a mortgage lender before, and one of the suggestions she had was regarding the taking advantage of the credit card offers that offer, a line of credit. It's a certain amount of money for like 18 months, 0%, as a transfer from other credit cards in order to pay down the principal, and that way knock down the debt by taking advantage of that. How does that affect the credit in terms of establishing a new line of credit? In terms of the score.
Mike, pick it up.
Okay. I got it. Reggie, what that will do is don't close out the old card. And what you're actually doing is you're increasing your available credit, so that is actually going to help your score, because anytime your available credit, you use more than 30% of your available credit, it drops your score. So you just had a $10,000 card. You transferred, $8,000 to another $10,000 card. You actually just decreased your usage of your credit, so you helped your score. Opening a new revolving card will not impact your score. It's going to be a hit of about 2 to 3 points on the inquiry, but that's all. And you'll be more than offset by the more available credit you have, which makes you look a lot better than the highest the creditor, the bureaus. So. Okay. It will not impact you. It actually help your score probably. But do not close the old card out.
Correct. Okay, I just want to see if that really makes sense in practice.
It does make sense, but just don't do the little offers at the stores. Open card today, and we give you, $10 off or $50. Don't do that, but do major credit cards. And there's plenty out there that will actually help your credit. And that way, what you'll do is, the more available credit you have, more than look at you, give you more credit, so you're able to use that leverage on the free money, and it will not impact your score. Very little will actually help your score. The key
Yes,
is
sir. Okay,
never
thank you
go
very
above
much.
30% of credit. Yes, sir. Thank you, Reggie.
You know, the real
Have a great
benefit of the whole thing, guys, is that you're using that money, no interest for time, which is giving you a little bit better opportunity to pay back some of that debt if you want to pay it. That's what your goal is, to pay it off. So that is very beneficial. At one time, I had 50 credit cards, and about half of them had a period, anywhere from 6 months to a year, of no interest that they would extend to me. And I used to move money around those things all the time and use the money for free and, pay them back off a month or two before that interest period started back up again. So there's a lot of things out there. But again, I think you need to get with Mike or somebody else that can help you think through and walk through those examples and make sure that you're not tripping up somewhere, because it's just one little thing done the wrong way messes you back up, like Mike's saying, for quite a few points on your credit score. Mike, I had a guy bump me for $107 I went to an emergency room, and when they charge you, the emergency room charges you, the doctor charges you, and the guy who took the X-ray charged you. Then there's some other guy that just charged you for something, whatever it was, anesthesia, whatever, who knows. So I got some bill, and they bumped me for $107 that I had not paid. And I thought I'd paid the bill, and I disputed that I paid the bill. But what had happened was they charged me twice because I'd been in the emergency room for the same thing twice. I didn't realize that. And so here was this 3-year-old bad debt, 107, and it took my credit score from, believe it or not, from an 840 to a 670 on this one stupid account.
Yes, sir.
And so I got in touch with them and got them to agree to take it off. I said, I'll pay you if you take it off. I got, like you said, the letter, and not because I'm brilliant. It just seemed like common sense to me to make sure that I got proof before I paid them, because it really dinged me bad. And being a real estate investor, to go from 840 down to 670 is like cut my wrist, man. So as we got just another minute or two here, what else would you like to talk to people about? You got about 2 minutes at the most. No, not even that. You only got about a minute left. What would you like to talk to them about in this last minute?
Sometimes people get a divorce, and they go to the judge, and the judge gives this property to the wife, this to the spouse. But understand, if you sign a note prior to that divorce, you are still obligated on that note, and your name does not come off that note. And we see a lot of people that think they're off, and 2 years later, the ex has late payments, and it impacts their score, and it will until that note is paid off or refinanced in the other person's name only. So it's very important to look at things before you sign the divorce papers.
Wow, that's interesting. So you really should have your attorney not let you get in that situation, really. Don't know how that works.
I had a lady in Amarillo that I thought she could not get a divorce because he was not going to refinance the house because she wanted to buy another house. Single lady. I said, you can't do it. You can't have two houses. You already have a house alone. Well, he's going to take it. I said, no. So after about an hour and crying, she agreed not to get a divorce, and it took him 4 months to get refinanced. And then she got the divorce.
Last chance. Give out your phone number. We've got just 30 seconds left. One more chance to get them to call you.
Mike Doyle, 214-240-4538.
All right, Mike, appreciate all the hard work you do for our members, coming in for the case studies, coming in and helping us here at the radio show. So thank you very much. And for the rest of you out there, keep in mind, your credit is your greatest tool. You may have $1,000, but that $1,000 allows you to borrow $8,000. You need to keep your credit better than your savings account. Have a great day, and remember always, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle.
listening to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, teaching you the opposite of everything you've been taught so you can obtain the results you've never obtained. Join us 7 days a week. Can't get enough? Visit DellOnTheRadio.com to listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, access past show podcasts, and join the conversation.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley Radio Show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Del Walmsley Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.